Is there life beyond our little blue planet, and how much does the government know about it? Those were the questions a House Oversight Subcommittee attempted to answer Wednesday as they heard testimony from a former Air Force intelligence officer and 2 Navy veterans. Lawmakers are demanding to know what the Pentagon has in its files on unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, the government term for UFOs. CBS News' Scott McFarlane reports from Capitol Hill.
Alien films are a Hollywood staple, so perhaps no surprise.
The American people deserve to know what is happening in our skies.
There was a line out the door with people anxious for the government to share more about UFOs.
In the Baptist Church, we'd say that the devil's in our way.
A former intelligence officer, David Grusch, testified he suspects the Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, or UAP, office is covering up a decades-long program to retrieve crashed objects.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
The Pentagon has denied Grusch's claims. 2 former military pilots also recounted their close encounters.
This object was estimated to be almost the size of a football field.
Former military pilot David Fravor testified he was astonished by what he saw in the sky.
No, I think it's far beyond actually our material science that we currently possess.
Congress signaled it'll ask federal agencies and the Pentagon to be more transparent.
Many people believe that we're withholding information from them
on any unexplained aerial phenomena incidents, of which there have been at least 366 reported since early 2021.
Do you think anybody's mind was changed because of this?
I think they will when they see this. They see those men. They're not just some random people off the street.
And Scott McFarlane joins me now. Scott, I'm going to save the question I want to ask you first to my second question. So I'm going to ask you the first question, which is, lawmakers really said this was about national security. Can you help us understand their argument in those terms?
There's been a consistent argument from both parties that if you have mysterious items in the sky, they are, if nothing else, a danger to military aircraft in the sky and potentially a danger to U.S. security below. There was this parallel pair of arguments today that either these things are foreign objects from other countries to spy on us or to get near us, which is a national security issue, or we don't know what these things are, which is a national security issue. Listen to this exchange early during the hearing between a Wisconsin congressman and the witness at the witness table.
Do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Identifying friend from foe is very important to us. And so when we have unidentified targets and we continue to ignore those due to a stigma or a fear of what it could be, that's an opening that our adversaries can take advantage of.
One connective tissue between all these witnesses and the members of Congress on the dais, John, they're all arguing that the public's on their side, that there's this tonnage of Americans who want more information, want the government to open their books more. They think public sympathy or public opinion is sympathetic to them.
So this is the question I want to know. Scott, was there a stop the presses moment? Was there, and you sort of got at this at in the final question of your piece, but you know, where people thought, oh wow, that's something new, or because it sounds like a lot of claims, things seen, reports, and so forth. But we've heard that before.
A lot of this had the aura and feel and dialogue of overnight AM radio and the types of talk you hear down at the dial late at night, where there's a lot of theories, a lot of I heard this, I heard that, this guy saw this guy saw that. I'll tell you what jumped out at me, John. There was a line round the bend to get into this room today. And to put it mildly, Congress is not a Taylor Swift concert. They don't put on much of a show here. It was as if these people in line thought Alf himself was going to be up on the dais and there'd be a spectacle to enjoy. That does speak to something, though, more serious. There is public interest in this issue, and these members of Congress are good at 2 things: at identifying an issue that people will talk about and minding the interests of their constituents. And I believe they think they hit a sweet spot with their constituents with this hearing today.
So what happens next, and what do they want to do with this information from today?
One short-term thing, one long-term thing. Even before this hearing began, the U.S. Senate is seriously considering an amendment to a must-pass piece of legislation they're debating this week that would require the National Archives to release periodically government reports. on UFOs to make the information accessible and digestible to the public. Longer-term goals, a lot of House members walked out of that hearing and told me they're thinking about their own pieces of legislation to require more transparency in the federal government. John, you know from all these years we've been doing this, Congress loves to argue that the federal agencies need to be more transparent, more open with information. They have found yet another platform on which to make that argument.
Yes, indeed they do. Scott McFarlane on Capitol Hill. Thanks a lot, Scott.